Hello, and thank you for watching this video about Wayside Publishing's Spanish series, EntreCulturas. Our vision at Wayside Publishing is to support you to empower the next generation of global citizens. Your work as language teachers is critically important, and we are here to meet your needs with high-quality resources and professional development along the way. We are proud to provide the first and only truly standards-based resources for use in world language classrooms. We offer 4 levels of EntreCulturas. Level 1 takes students from Novice Low up to Novice High, and our series goes to Level 4 that takes students all the way up to Intermediate High. Throughout the series, our focus is to help your students be able to communicate in ways that are appropriate for their proficiency level. The EntreCulturas series is aligned with the leading research in our field and follows the guidelines of the World-Readiness Standards for Learning Languages, ACTFL's proficiency guidelines and performance descriptors, and the can-do statements. The series is also aligned with the AP themes and includes practice in AP-style tasks starting in Level 1. Correlations with California state standards are coming soon. What makes our second edition of EntreCulturas so special? This edition continues with our commitment to build proficiency in learners through performance. Interculturality is a key component as indicated by the name of our series, EntreCulturas, and we will see it throughout each unit. Our video bloggers have been improved from our previous edition, new authentic resources have been integrated, and there are more robust IPAs for each unit. Technology demands for faster and more accessible interface, and our new learning site provides just that. Heritage speaker classes, AP practice. Our new teacher edition gives you suggestions to support differentiation for all students. And a brand new feature we are excited to launch in 2025 is our AI lesson plan generator. This feature will allow teachers to focus more on instruction by spending less time planning. You will be able to use it to personalize your lesson plans, tailoring them to specific student levels and learning objectives. This AI lesson plan generator will pull existing activities, resources, and assessment created by Wayside into your unique lesson plans. Let's walk through a unit of EntreCulturas Level 1. The unit opener introduces themes, goals, and essential questions. Also notice that each comunicación section will incorporate a new subtheme. These subthemes will be packed with vocabulary and grammar that will lead to students acquiring the needed language to demonstrate their proficiency growth at each formative assessment called En Camino, where students will be showcasing their communicative skills with the language. Each unit of EntreCulturas starts with an introduction to a different Spanish-speaking country of focus for that unit. This helps students to acquire some background knowledge as a basis for the connections and comparisons they'll be making throughout the unit. Level 1 goes a step further and compares a U.S. state of focus with a Spanish-speaking country so that students that don't have a background knowledge of Spanish-speaking countries can have some extra context for those connections and comparisons. One of the best features of our series is our video bloggers. These are not actors with memorized scripts that use all of the grammar and vocabulary from a specific unit. They are just regular teens from the country of focus who talk about topics related to the unit theme. Here, students meet Fernanda from Puebla, Mexico. Notice the activity that goes with a video blogger is broken down into 4 smaller sections. Since the video blogger uses her own natural language, these activity steps break it down so that students are interacting with the video in a way that is appropriate for their proficiency level. Let's watch part of a video blog.
Hola, me llamo Fernanda, soy de México y tengo 16 años. Soy una persona alegre, divertida y a veces un poco distraída. Me gustan mucho todos los deportes al aire libre. Me gusta mucho nadar, correr y subir la montaña. Me gustan mucho los animales. En casa, yo vivo con mi madre, con mi padre y con mis 2 hermanos pequeños. Y tengo 3 perros. Y yo hablo inglés y español. Yo vivo en Puebla. Puebla es una ciudad preciosa, llena de gente mágica. Hay pirámides, la comida es súper rica, la música tradicional, los bailes típicos. Es un lugar que tiene muchos edificios modernos, pero también tiene cosas de la misma cultura, como son las pirámides, el deporte de pelota. El clima suele ser bastante tropical. Hay mucho verde, hay mucha selva. Mi comida favorita de mi país son los tacos. Sobre todo los tacos al pastor.
After the cultural introduction to the unit, there are 3 comunicación sections. Each of these sections contains vocabulary, grammar, and a formative assessment. In the Introduction to the Comunicación section, students will continue to learn about cultural products and practices, keeping intercultural discovery as the focus of the content. Here is a vocabulary section called Así se dice. This Así se dice section focuses on food and nutrition. Students see the vocabulary in context, Boletín de Nutrición, and the reminders from the nutritionist about healthy habits are all contextualized. There are great resources in Learning Site, including an audio recording of the vocabulary presentation to help introduce new vocabulary. Following the introduction of new content, there will always be activities available in each mode of communication: interpretive, interpersonal, and presentational. For every page of the textbook, and also available in Learning Site, there is an array of support for teachers. Each spread includes ideas for scaffolding and differentiation, and tips or additional ideas for activities. There are also tips for supporting heritage speakers, incorporating AP and IB strategies, college and career readiness, talking about culture, and for building proficiency. Authentic resources are pivotal in ensuring that learners are interacting with real language in their language learning experience. These authentic resources used in this vocabulary section provide more input with the new vocabulary. Once again, notice how we focus on creating a task at the appropriate proficiency level so that students can successfully use an authentic resource. Here they are categorizing different foods and making comparisons. Note that there are also can-do statements so that students can take a moment to self-assess their learning so far. There are communicative and intercultural can-do statements spread throughout the text. Moving on to our grammar sections called Observa. We use inductive grammar lessons in our textbooks, which are fairly unique to our standards-based series. In a traditional deductive grammar approach, the teacher provides all the grammar knowledge and rules to the students up front, and then they practice what they've been told. However, with an inductive grammar teaching, you are more of a guide for the students, helping them as they explore, discover, and use their new grammar knowledge so that they are constructing their own understanding as you help them along the way. In this Observa, students see stem-changing verbs for the first time presented in the context of a dialogue. First, students read the text while making observations. Next, students can use the ¿Qué observas? Questions to guide conversations about why and how they think the structure is used. Then, students watch the Observa video for more input and a mini lesson. Finally, students are ready to start practicing with the structure. The first activity is usually an interpretive task to provide more input with the structure. Let's take a look at part of an Observa video.
Let's listen to Pablo and Lucia as they discuss food they want to eat and food they recommend. Pay attention to the verbs they use.
Lucía, ¿quieres comer tacos con nosotros?
Sí, quiero tacos. ¿Qué recomiendas, Pablo?
Recomiendo los tacos de la taquería San José.
Pablo and Lucia used forms of the verbs querer to talk about what they wanted to eat and recomendar to talk about what they recommend. Take a look at the stem, or the part of the verb that comes before the ending. Notice that the stems all have the letters I, E. We don't see this letter combination in the infinitives of these verbs. It only appears in some of the conjugated forms. Let's keep listening to Pablo and Lucia. Pay attention to the stems of the verbs they use.
¿Prefieres tacos al pastor o tacos de pollo?
Prefiero tacos al pastor.
Miguel y yo recomendamos cebolla y piña con los tacos. Preferimos los tacos sin aguacate.
You probably noticed the IE letter combination again in some, but not all of the verb forms. Which verb forms do not have the IE letter combination? When Pablo talks about what he and Miguel do, he uses the nosotros form of the verb. The E in the stem of the nosotros form does not change to IE. The verbs querer, preferir, and recomendar are a type of verb called stem-changing verbs.
Following the lesson, there are several activities in all modes of communication that ask students to interpret audio and written texts and create written and spoken responses. Here are more chances for students to practice those new stem-changing verbs, as well as other useful language, in context as they write about traditional foods in their community or that are important in their family. They finish up with an intercultural reflection. Each comunicación section includes a video that shares cultural perspectives from the video blogger in the Perspectiva section. To check in on student learning after a comunicación section, there are formative assessments called En Camino. There are usually 3 tasks in different modes of communication, all centered around the unit theme, and assess the student's progress with the can-do statements. In this assessment, students are reading a social media post about a traditional beverage. Then students create their own post about a dish that's important to them. Finally, students have an interpersonal interaction with a partner to talk about foods they both like. There's a template single-point rubric that you can use to provide feedback on these formative assessments by adding in the can-do statements and jotting down notes on areas that students are strong and where they can put in more work to improve. This is also a good time to encourage students to update their online portfolios that contain the can-do statements that can be found here on the formative assessments and that are spread throughout the unit. There are also both analytic and holistic rubrics that you can use for formative assessments or any other performance-based task. There are rubrics in each mode of communication that cover 4 proficiency levels. By now, we've looked at one full comunicación section. Remember that there are 3 of these per unit. Towards the end of the unit, there is a global community project. Here, students investigate the local or global community, connect and interact with communities, authentic products, and native speakers. This allows students to really take their Spanish skills outside of the classroom and put them into action. True to its name, EntreCulturas offers many opportunities for students to expand their intercultural skills. From the video bloggers to the global community section to the variety of authentic resources included throughout the series, students are exposed to many products, practices, and perspectives from several different countries. The intercultural can-do statements spread throughout the series that is tied to the online portfolio invite students to reflect on their intercultural growth. Summative assessments are called Vive EntreCulturas and are integrated performance assessments, or IPAs. These are different from the formative assessments in that these are integrated and will always have 3 interconnected tasks, one in each mode of communication, that build off of each other. By completing these tasks, students are challenged to demonstrate how they can actually interact with and use the language and give teachers a complete picture of their ability. Note that even though there's a description of the tasks in the textbook, all of the essential resources for those tasks are found online. Each Vive EntreCulturas has its own written rubric specifically for that assessment and group of tasks. In addition, there's also a document available for teachers with sample student responses. This document gives teachers an idea of possible expectations for a variety of student proficiency levels. At the end of the unit, everything that was presented is summarized in the Gramática Resumen section and the Vocabulario Resumen section. Now that we've taken a journey through an entire unit, let's take a look at what else is available to support the textbook content. Workbooks provide additional practice in concepts presented in each unit. There are print and digital workbooks available. The Life and Career Success Supplement integrates seamlessly with EntreCulturas levels 1 through 3 and goes beyond traditional language learning, showing students how Spanish opens doors to real career opportunities. Each level of EntreCulturas includes a digital companion reader. Each reader includes dramatic recordings of each chapter by a native speaker and chapter comprehension activities. Each level includes a variety of resources, access to LearningSite and Newlang, our online platforms. In addition to the print and digital textbook, we offer a print and digital workbook, a digital life and career success supplement, and a digital reader. When you adopt with Wayside, we want to make sure that you are successful using our new resources. We offer e-learning, webinars, and in-person training sessions with our professional learning team, which is always available to help throughout your adoption. Our team also offers additional professional development on various proficiency-based topics and open webinars throughout the year. Now let's take a brief look at our AP offerings. Triángulo Apreciado offers AP practice and proficiency growth combined, preparing students for the AP language and culture assessment. All 6 AP themes are integrated throughout 5 units that focus on cultural products or perspectives. There are 7 to 10 AP-style tasks per unit with 20 simulated conversations throughout the text. While also helping all students grow as language learners, this book also prepares them for the AP exam, including a variety of authentic resources and tasks that require critical thinking and high engagement. Vocabulary for each section includes online practice that moves students through Bloom's taxonomy, starting with remembering and understanding up through applying, analyzing, and creating. Each unit includes one problematic grammar topic appropriate at this level. This is presented in context with additional practice available online in LearningSite. Each unit concludes with a full integrated performance assessment. Student performance on these assessments gives teachers a full snapshot of student abilities in all 3 modes of communication. Azulejo is the text available for the Spanish AP Literature and Culture course. Units are presented in chronological order and include all pieces from the required reading list. Each chapter includes a historical context for the time that the pieces were written, and background information about each author is included as well. In addition to the many discussion questions included for each piece and unit in the textbook, reading analysis questions and free response prompts are available in LearningSite for each piece, making this a comprehensive and robust resource to prepare for the AP Literature and Culture exam. In this next section, we will explore the digital resources available, including LearningSite and Newlang. Now let's take a tour through LearningSite. Here I am on my LearningSite dashboard. This is where I will find all of my classes and materials available to me. Here I have my EntreCulturas Level 1 class, and if I enter the Learning Materials tab, I will find all the units from the textbook. I'm going to enter the unit that we were looking at earlier. Here I can see the first page that we would see in the textbook. I'm going to go to our Encuentro Intercultural section, and we'll look at our video blogger. Here I can see the exact page and contents that was in the textbook, and any activities related to this section will be found directly below it. Here's the video for our video blogger. Any assignments or tasks that pop up below, I can easily assign to students by clicking on this 3-dot menu here and selecting Assign. Here I can play the video, make it full screen. Also, turn on captions or adjust the playback speed.
Tengo 16 años. Soy una persona alegre, divertida.
And again, any activities or assignments associated will be found directly below. Here's an ordering activity where students would put these things in order. Your teacher view is very similar to what students are seeing on their end. Now I'm back in my unit main page. I'm going to go into one of the comunicación sections. Here I can see all of the content for the Así se dice vocabulary section, the Observa grammar section, and my perspectiva from my video blogger, and then my En Camino formative assessment. Let's look at a vocabulary section. So here I have the presentation of vocabulary that we saw a little bit earlier. Each one of these sections also has an audio clip associated with it.
Bien comer, buen vivir. Boletín de nutrición. Frutas. El plátano.
Keep in mind that all audio and video is downloadable for teachers. So you can download this clip and insert it into a file or a slideshow or save it into your own folders. Any activity that has to do with this section is going to be found directly below and on the next few pages. Also notice the can-do statements, where relevant, are inserted directly into the content. So here, students can actually update their progress with these can-do statements, and it will update their online portfolio. They can also add evidence to justify their response. Let's go down to a formative assessment. From the teacher perspective, I will see the rubric first, which is a PDF document. This is fillable, so I can enter the can-do statements, type the can-do statements in here, and then type any feedback if I want to use this version digitally. There will also be an answer document. And then for all of the formative assessments, I have the option of assigning different proficiency levels for different students. This allows for very easy differentiation. So here we're looking at the novice mid version, but I can also toggle to the novice high or the intermediate low. And when I assign to students, I'm able to assign different levels to different students. You will also notice can-do statements in these formative assessments. They're very closely tied. All of the activities that you see here are also printable. If you are looking at a review account, you might not be able to print them, but once you have your actual teacher account, you will be able to print them. So for example, I'm able to select print task, and it will generate a PDF for me. And it will give students lines for them to write in. So if it's a fill in the blank activity, it will give smaller lines within the sentences. Navigating to content in Learning Site is very simple. I can use the table of contents over here to find the section that I'm looking for. So for example, if I want to find the grammar observa section that we were looking at earlier, I can enter the comunicación and then find my observa section here. Alternatively, if you know which page number you're looking for, you can always type in the page and it will jump to that page. And you can see the page number up here in the corner. In addition to what you see from the textbook here, you will notice in the teacher printed version of the textbook, you have instructional notes for the teacher in the margins around the content. You can access that same content here by clicking on this icon. Anything that's available for the teacher in that print edition is also available here in these sidebars. Here we are in our grades tab for this class. Anything that is auto-graded, so matching, fill in the blank, those kinds of activities will be auto-graded and the grade will automatically appear. Anything that the teacher needs to grade, like longer writing, writing sentences, recording audio or video, will have a yellow dot in the box that means that students have completed the work and teachers need to go in and review and leave feedback. So I can click on this box right here, and here I'm seeing the student work in this sentence. For any written work, you can highlight and leave feedback. You can color code your feedback as well. When students go in, they can click on the highlighted part and see the feedback. After reviewing this, then I would leave a grade for the student. I have my gradebook set to points. You have the option of setting points or percentages. And then I can also select a proficiency level. Now I have a grade entered for that student. I also have the option of leaving additional feedback. So I can type out my feedback or I can leave video, or audio feedback for students as well. To go on to the next student, I can open this menu here, see if anyone else has the assignment completed. They would have a yellow dot, or I could toggle to the next student. But you can see that this student doesn't have work completed. You can also see all of the completed work for a specific student by selecting their name. And see everything has been completed. So they've completed these assignments over here. They just need to be graded. This gradebook can be filtered, so if I just want to look at work from the last week or so, or even a unit, that's possible. You can also export the grades and it will create an Excel spreadsheet. The next tab we will explore is our Assignments tab. Here I can see everything that has been assigned. I can also look at details, including editing the due date for students. I can also quickly see who has submitted and who has not submitted an assignment. From here, I can also add assignments. So if I know exactly what I would like to assign to my students, I can quick select multiple assignments at a time and assign them all at the same time. That includes the can-do statements. So I can select my class, select my due date, add any additional instructions for students, decide whether I want these assignments included or excluded from the final grade, and then I can easily assign from here. So now I've assigned all of those just with a few clicks. Teachers see the assignment list in list view, but they can toggle to calendar view. Students will automatically see calendar view, but can also toggle to list view. In the Students tab, you will see the list of students enrolled in your class. If your school chooses to roster, we will build your classes for you, meaning that we will give you a different learning site class for each of your classes and we'll put your students in your class. And then in the Settings tab, you have several different options for controlling your gradebook and assignments. And in the Show Hide Content tab, you can decide which content from everything in Learning Site that you want students to be able to access. Over here in this menu on the left, we have the portfolio. So if you would like to go in and see student progress on their portfolio, you can find it there. We also have our learning tools. Under the learning tools, we have Instructional Strategies Toolkit. This is a bank of over 200 teaching ideas with instructions for how to run these and filters over here on the side to find exactly what you're looking for. So let's say that you have a novice class and you're going to do some interpersonal practice. You can see there's 72 results. And I can click on any of these and see a description for how to do the activity. Professional learning will take you to more information about the professional learning that we offer from Wayside Publishing. Now I'm back in my dashboard, and I would like to take this opportunity to talk about Nualang. To get to Nualang for my class, I'm going to select this link in this text right here that says Go to Nualang Classroom. It's going to automatically open into my classroom with the EntreCulturas content already loaded. This view that you have here is very similar to what students will be seeing in Nualang. What is Nualang? It's great independent practice for students, both in helping them build their confidence with vocabulary and developing interpersonal skills. I'm going to find the unit that we were looking at earlier, and I'm going to open one of the lessons here. So you'll see there's a list of exercises, and the exercises are based on these phrases. The phrases come directly from the Así se dice sections from the unit. So you will see translation, listening, and pronunciation activities. These are great for reinforcing what students have already learned in class and helping to build their confidence both with hearing and saying these words. The translation task, there's an option for teachers to hide that if you don't want students to see that. Let's look at a listening task.
El plátano. El plátano.
So students hear the word and then they can either type or they can use a word bank to select what they heard. For every practice that students do, there's immediate feedback. For pronunciation tasks, a word is given to students, they pronounce, and the computer actually gives them feedback on the quality of their pronunciation of the word in the target language. Role plays are conversations between two people about this vocabulary that students have been learning in this particular unit. So they're going to see that vocabulary and the structures used in a context of a conversation. There's an option to preview the role play or the dialogue beforehand, so students can read what will happen here with this dialogue. And then they have a variety of ways they can participate in this dialogue up here. So first they're just listening so they can hear the conversation.
Necesitamos preparar mucha comida para la fiesta en la escuela.
And then it goes all the way to filling in the blanks, so they have multiple choice where they get direct, instant feedback on their performance, to them acting out where they're actually listening or speaking and taking part in this pre-written dialogue. So these are role plays. Once students feel confident with that role play, they've seen some of that interpersonal interaction. Now they're prepared to participate in their own interpersonal interaction with chatbots. Students will start the conversation.
Soy el señor Davis. Dime hola para empezar. ¿Luz prefiere la carne de res o los frijoles?
It's asking about that dialogue that they read before, so we'll ask them a few questions, and they have the option to type in their responses, or they can actually click to start and speak their responses. For any spoken responses that students do in Nuolang, they can select to save their recordings, and Nuolang will save all of their audio clips that teachers can go back later and listen and give feedback. Okay, so these are all of the independent practice activities that are really great for breaking down that affective filter and helping students build confidence with their new vocabulary that they're seeing in their EntreCulturas units. So let's look at a few more things that you can do with Nuolang. In Discuss, I can create discussions and assign them to students. So I'm going to create my own discussion here. I can add a topic, add a discussion prompt, and then I have a few more options I can add here. And then I can add how long I want them to speak, and then a due date. And then I can have it create groups for me. I currently don't have any students in this class, but you would see a list of students, and then I can decide how big I want the groups to be. So when a Discuss is assigned to students, they will open Discuss all on their own devices. So they could be together in the classroom, or they could even be at home on their own devices. But each student will be on their own device. They'll log in at the same time and start the discussion. The discussion will record, and then it will submit a video and a transcript to the teacher, who then can leave feedback. This is a great opportunity for you to customize the discussion that you want your students to have, and to collect that evidence in the form of a video and a transcript. Now let's look at our Progress tab for my Nuolang classroom. Here I can see the percentage of the course that's been completed by students, but I can also go down to the unit level and see how much students have completed for each lesson, and I can also filter to show correct answer percentage only versus percent complete of activities. The next feature that I'd like to share from Nuolang is the live class game. This is an engaging game for all of your students to play together in class. On the left here I have the teacher view, and on the right I have the student view. So the teacher will initiate the Play Live game. I'll choose a unit, so we'll go to the unit we've been looking at, and then I can choose a translation, listening, or role play game. I'm going to choose a listening game. Now you'll notice on the student side, so the teacher side, the game is populating right now. It's creating the game for me. And now on the student side, the student can join the live game. Only students who are in your class can join the game, and it will join with a name that they were given when they were registered for your class. So now as the
La
teacher, I'm going to
manzana.
start the game.
La manzana.
Students need to hear this as
La
many
manzana.
times as they can, so I can play it as many times as I want. Students will either type in the word that they hear, or they can use the word bank to answer. And now I see all my students have answers, and I can go to the next screen. And then there's a leaderboard. Students get more points for typing versus using the word bank, and the more correct, the higher their score will be. So that is a Play Live game that can be used at any time, and you see how quick it was for me to create that game and start playing with my students together in class. In addition to the EntreCulturas content that's available on Nualang, we also have community courses available to add to any classroom. These include video courses, reader courses, themed topics, and current updated monthly topics that are coming soon. Thank you for joining us today on this journey through the new edition of EntreCulturas. Please be sure to get the review account information from your account manager so that you can access Learning Site and see everything that EntreCulturas has to offer.